The real estate market in Jamaica operates under a structured system with specific stages, costs, and legal requirements. Let's break down this comprehensive process that typically spans several months from start to finish, examining everything from initial property search to final closing procedures. The purchase journey begins with 9 key stages, starting with pre-qualification and mortgage approval, where potential buyers determine their borrowing capacity through banks or credit unions. This moves through property search, offer submission and acceptance, followed by the critical deposit payment phase, where buyers typically provide 5 to 10% of the purchase price to the seller's attorney, often held in escrow. The subsequent stages involve title searches, due diligence, tax payments, and finally the registration of title transfer. For sellers, the cost burden is significant, totaling approximately 11.8% of the sale price. This includes a 2% transfer tax on market value, shared stamp duty, and registration fees, 0.25% of sale price, and the substantial real estate commission of 5% plus 15% GCT. Attorney fees for sellers usually run about 3% of the sale price plus 0.49% GCT. Additional costs include agreement for sale preparation, approximately 0.20% of sale price, GCT on agreement 0.033%, and letter of possession fees, Jamaican dollars 3,750. Buyers face a different cost structure with basic purchasing costs around 3.98% for cash buyers. However, this figure can balloon to nearly 13% when including mortgage-related expenses. Key buyer costs include stamp duty, 2,500 Jamaican dollars, registration fees, 0.25% of sale price, surveyor's report, approximately 100,000 Jamaican dollars, or valuation report, 80,000 Jamaican dollars, and attorney's fees similar to the seller's portion. Additional expenses include land title search and caveat check, under 10,000 Jamaican dollars, and letter of possession fees. Mortgage-related costs add significant expenses for buyers, including a mortgage processing fee of approximately 1% of the loan amount, stamp duty on mortgage, 0.625% of loan, bank legal fees, mortgage registration fee, 0.5% of property value, commitment letter fee, and possible mortgage insurance for high-risk loans. These additional costs can push the total buyer expenses to approximately 12.97% of the purchase price. The timeline varies significantly between cash and mortgage purchases. Cash transactions can potentially complete within 30 to 90 days, moving through deposit payment, title checks, and final closing. Mortgage purchases are more complex, typically requiring 5 to 6 months for completion, with up to 45 days just for initial approval and document submission. Bank approval and attorney coordination can take 1 to 2 months, while title valuation and registration processes typically require 2 to 3 months. Jamaica's real estate transactions are governed by a comprehensive legal framework, including several key acts: the Registration of Titles Act, Stamp Duty Act, Transfer Tax Act, Real Estate, Dealers and Developers Act, Property, Rights of Spouses Act, Mortgage Insurance Act, Building Act 2018, Land Valuation Act, National Housing Trust Act, Financial Institutions Act, and relevant common law and case law provisions. Each act serves specific purposes, from regulating land title registration to establishing construction standards and planning requirements. The transaction process follows a structured sequence: instruction by vendor and buyer, agreement drafting and signing, title search and caveat checks, tax payments, transfer lodging at the titles office, mortgage registration if applicable, issuance of final certificate of title, and property handover. This systematic approach ensures all legal requirements are met and parties' interests are protected. Several practical tips can help smooth the transaction process. Having funds readily available, especially for deposits and mortgage approvals, is crucial. Buyers should verify the property's vacancy status, as properties must be vacant before closing. For international transactions, additional time should be allocated for document authentication and international coordination. Working with licensed professionals, both real estate agents and property lawyers, is essential for protecting your interests. Buyers should also account for potential delays at government offices, particularly the Stamp Office or Titles Office. For international buyers, while purchasing property in Jamaica is possible, the process requires careful attention to detail and professional guidance, particularly regarding legal requirements and financial obligations. Document authentication and international coordination can add significant time to the process, making it essential to work with attorneys familiar with foreign buyer transactions. Common questions often arise about the necessity of legal representation, which is required for both parties, typical transaction timeframes and total costs. The comprehensive cost structure means buyers should be prepared for expenses ranging from 4% to 13% of the purchase price, depending on payment method, while sellers typically face costs around 11.8% of the property's value. The success of a real estate transaction in Jamaica largely depends on proper planning, understanding of the process, and working with qualified professionals. Whether purchasing with cash or through a mortgage, buyers should maintain realistic expectations about timeframes and costs, while ensuring all legal requirements are met throughout the process. This structured approach, while sometimes complex, helps protect all parties' interests and ensures a legally sound property transfer